So another comment about my records request. This one comes from former Longview City Council member Chuck Wallace. Just a thought. The level 1 sex offenders worry about losing their jobs because of the employer will find out. But doesn't the sex offender, employers know that they are convicted? Isn't that a standard question asked on most employment applications? Have you ever been convicted of a crime? Just thinking out loud. Very valid question. Being that Chuck Wallace works in security now in Longview because he's no longer a Longview City Council member, that would be something that he would have to divulge to an employer. So very valid question coming from Chuck. And I said in some industries, not the majority though, because that's just not all jobs ask you if you've been convicted of a crime. Most do. Most don't ask you specifically if you've been convicted of a sex crime. Chuck Wallace goes on to say, I can't imagine a burger flipper boss firing an employee for being an undisclosed RSO. A track coach's boss might have a different reaction. And then somebody goes on to say, so the lowest level offenders will or won't lose a job. Could they get fired for that even though it was asked and answered during the interview process and got hired? And Chuck Wallace goes on to say, I think in Washington, an employer can fire that employee without cause. It might be different for union employees or employee with a contract. There perhaps is also a morality clause language within an employment contract. And in Washington State, it's an at-will state, meaning they can fire you for any reason. I commented, I don't care if they get fired. And then a very smart person came on and said, Chuck Wallace plus it's likely asked them the question, have you ever been convicted of a crime? When they were hired. If they lied at that time, and by the way, they'll lose their job, it's because they lied. Lots of places of employment will accept employees on the registry if they are upfront about it and provide an explanation of charges. Chuck Wallace responding to my comment of, I don't care if they get fired. Clearly you don't, and clearly this whole thing is about you. Are we really to believe this whole thing is about saving citizens of Cowlitz County from an inconvenient trip to the sheriff's office to find out if our kids receive a birthday invitation from a pervert? Why don't you tell the citizens of Cowlitz County the real reason why you're doing this deed, what the hidden agenda is? Fuck you, Chuck. Space fucking period. Fuck off, Chuck.